It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a real pleasure to see the turnout. I mean, pretty soon we're not going to have any seats for other people here. How many of you have been to the Air Force Academy and seen the statue of the Tuskegee Airman? Not very many. Now, those of you that didn't raise your hands, I want your names. Because, what'd you say? Be nice. There's a statue up there, and here's a picture of it here. That is, for those of you who don't know, I'm a former Tuskegee Airman. I went through pilot training during World War II. And when I came here and saw the academy, I said, well, they should have something reminiscent of the training that I went through during World War II, the Tuskegee Airmen. So I took it upon myself to work toward getting a statue up there. And that statue up there, if you look at it real closely, you'll see a slight. No, I'm just kidding now. I mean, the guy's good looking, so that eliminates me right there. But I'm happy to be here with you today. I felt that what I felt in terms of pride, I wanted to get that into that sculpture to be seen by other people. Not only pride, but competence. The fact that he would be standing, looking at you and saying, I know I'm good, because that's the way I was. When I finished flying training at Tuskegee, I never thought I'd do that. I hadn't even finished high school. But when I finished that program, I realized at that point, I can do any damn thing I want to do if I set my mind to it. And believe me, I've lived that, and I've done a lot of things that I never thought I would do. I mean, positively now. I'm not talking about the negative things.
I've always had a fear of flying. Did you ever find yourself, when you started flying, that being a problem?
I think we all, that's a natural thing, to have a fear of something you don't know anything about, especially when you're getting into an airplane and you're going to go up in the air and you've never been up there before. But for me, when I got in the airplane, I just couldn't wait to get airborne. I just had this feeling, look, me and flying, we're just one. We worked out, if there was anything that ever happened to me that I was built, born, and bred to do, it was get in an airplane and fly it. I felt the same way about cars. When I drove my first car, people had to kind of hold me back. You know, I wanted to go to the extreme, not all the way, but right at the brink. I thought I was that good. And even today, when I think of my flying career, I was never reckless, but I pushed the envelope as far as it could go without bursting open, you know. So it was something that I loved naturally, and I'm very happy that I was able to go through that program, because up until then I'd just been an ordinary student, and all of a sudden when I got to Tuskegee I became an A student. This is a fact. I became an A student because this was something I wanted so badly that I was willing to commit every ounce of my being into being the best there was. I hate to say that there's some guys who felt the same way that I did, but they weren't as good as I was.
More questions for Mr. Shivers.
I have a two-part question I want to ask you.
One part at a time.
One part at a time. Did you, during your career, know General Davis?
Oh, yes. I served under him.
You did?
Yes, during World War II.
And was he as hard as we've heard he was?
I would not say hard. He was a man who stood head and shoulders above most of the people that we will meet in our lifetime. He was firm. He demanded excellence. And he had shown that he could take it. So if you couldn't come up and stand before him as he had stood before others, you didn't need to be there. He was very fair. And to this day, if there's anyone that I have the utmost respect for, the utmost is General Benjamin O. Davis. And he's the type of person that when he would come out here and he would give me a call and have me come out and meet him at the officers club, and we'd have lunch together. That happened a couple of times. He was that kind of person. I have nothing but praise. When I say praise, I mean true praise and admiration for this man, because he took it hard from the beginning. When he decided to go to West Point, he caught hell all the time that he was there. He took it, kept his mouth shut, because he had a goal in mind, and he ultimately achieved that goal. And if it hadn't been for B.O. Davis, there wouldn't have been a Tuskegee Airman. Not one.
Was there a time when you wanted to give up?
How do you give up? You mean, did I want to? I don't even know what you mean by that. No way.
Yes, what type of advice would you give to young people about commitment and being able to set goals and to stick with them? As we know today, a lot of kids are not looking at college, not really looking at their future. Given the challenges you had, what advice would you give to these young people here?
There's something I think that every youngster can attach an interest in or to. If you don't have any interest in anything, you're in bad shape. You got to find something that you want to do, not what someone is telling you to do, but look around. What would you like to be? I'm going to ask at random. Let me see. This young man right back there. Any young man, stand up. Any young man, stand up. Wherever. Not necessarily back there. I want one young man to stand up.
We have one young man in the
All right.
room who's willing to stand.
Okay. What do you want to be?
An artist.
You want to be an artist. What are you doing now to become an artist?
Drawing.
You're drawing. That's exactly what I did when I was your age. And that's what I thought I was going to be. But I ultimately ended up being something else. But it never took away my interest as an artist. And I'm glad it didn't, because having become a pilot, I love that so much that I wanted to make a monument to the pilots, all black pilots. And because of my love for art, I was able to make that statue up there at the Air Force Academy. That's the first piece of sculpture I've ever done in my life. So it shows you, if you have an interest and a desire, that's where it all starts. If you have a kid that you see has some interest in something, as his parent, you are obligated to support that interest that he has. Get out and find out what you can about what he wants to do to make sure he gets the opportunity to expose him to whatever it is he wants to do. If a kid wants to do something, you don't have to force him. If he wants to do it, he's going to do it. You've got to find out what it is he wants to do and guide him where he gets the support that he needs. Is that clear?
And tell us your name and what school you attend.
Gerard, and I go to Martin Luther King Elementary.
Let's give Gerard a hand for being willing to stand.